one of the bigger things that we've talked about is peer pressure, and we want to see more laws passed, but this all comes down to the kids making those choices themselves. And I want to talk to you a little bit, Shannon, and have you come and talk to the mic. Where do you feel that we can bring an end to such crazy stunts being taken place, with so much peer pressure upon a lot of these kids, especially in high school?
I really think that education is key. You can go onto our website and our Facebook page and even on Twitter and follow all those stories and bring it up with your friends. I mean, talking to your friends about this and, making them aware of how dangerous it is and the sorts of things that happen because they chose to car surf. Yeah. I think that if you talk to your friends, kind of on, a calm conversation, it can be so much more effective than, parents talking to them and being stern about it and sort of preaching about it. I think that being calm and making just a simple conversation out of it is much more effective. Finding alternate activities like sports or music, just, finding things that can take up their time instead of being bored and choosing to do something like that dangerous.
Right. It's about finding something to be more positive with your life and what you're doing with your activities. Exactly. Rather than, hey, what do you guys think about this? I'm pretty bored. Let's go do this. It's something where you have to take it upon yourself to really get yourself in a situation where you're not making bad choices.
Yeah. I think that if you find stuff that like clubs or something to do with your friends, that's fun and much safer than doing something as reckless as car surfing or skitching or anything.
Right. And we talk about skitching too. Don't forget about that. Going out and there's a lot of recreational activities, playing sports, whether you play in a organized league or just go out and playing with your friends,
Right.
I mean, there's choices either way. So you can't say, well, my team's not playing tonight. Well, you can go out and play with your friends, go throw the football around, go throw the baseball around.
Yeah. I mean, I know that during the end of the summer or even the beginning of summer, you start to get bored and you're like, okay, I've run out of things to do. But just, hanging out with your friends and doing something that is positive, like you said, and wouldn't lead to, such bad things.
I think we had talked about, peer pressure is one of the major causes of kids doing crazy. What do we do to help them avoid the peer pressure? What kind of choices would you say, talking to our audience, what choice would you make if someone was peer pressuring you to do that?
Well, I would, if someone came up to me and they asked me, you want to go car surf, I would say no, obviously.
Right.
But I would kind of see the situation and why they were trying to do it, and I wouldn't be like, no, that's not cool, and then just bring the story up of the loss that our family had.
Right.
I would say no, and if they kept pushing me oh, you're going to be so uncool if you did that kind of thing, I would then sort of bring up that story and, educate them about it. And like I said before, education is key, even if it's them asking you and pressuring you to do it.
Because it hits so close to home for you, especially with your brother losing his life. Yes.
Yeah.
I think we talk about there's a lot of different choices. If you feel like you're really being bullied into it, call an adult, call an authority, bring somebody in and get yourself out of that bad situation. Because it's, even though you think, oh, I'm just going to be riding on top of a car, it's only going 5 miles an hour, it's not that fast, I can react to it. No, you can't.
You can't.
So,
and in the end, you're going to be the cool one because you're not choosing to do something that dangerous.
Right. And what we want to preach and advocate to a lot of people is that you're not just affecting your life, you're affecting the lives of your family, your friends, so many other people around you by making these choices. So to make the right choice, that's what we're trying to advocate and try to preach.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Shannon. I do appreciate your story. And, it's because of people like you and Sally, who it's affected, personally so much that, you guys are able to come out here. Let me reword that. We appreciate, because of what you guys have gone through, that you guys are out here advocating and preaching and trying to teach others about this. And we do appreciate your story, because we know it's a hard thing to do, especially dealing with the tragic loss of a brother or a son. But we do appreciate everything that you guys are doing here today. So thank you. Let's talk to Reva Tucker here a little bit. Reva's got an interesting background story as well. Reva, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you're involved with Stop Car Surfing as well?
Well, I've been involved with this family for a really long time. I've been best friends with Shannon since practically kindergarten, and I've known Sally for a very long time.
Very nice.
I've really been seeing this secondhand. I've been witnessing everything they're going through, and I've been with Shannon and Sally throughout everything they've gone through.
Yeah. So kind of the same questions I asked Shannon, having it hit so close to home for you as well, and knowing the person that has been affected by this and knowing a family that's been affected by this, what would you do to advocate and to preach to people out there about the dangers of car surfing?
Well, for me, I know if someone came up to me and tried to tell me about this, being a teenager, thinking everyone's better than you, you kind of just blow it off, ignore it. But I think parents should talk to their kids when they're littler or when they're not ignorant, when they're trying to just blow it off. I think we should get the word out, especially if you have younger kids. Talk to your younger kids, make sure they know the dangers, and really not just really don't be mean to them, but try to tell them the dangers.
Well, it's like we talked to our kids about the dangers of drugs and alcohol and drinking, and especially when you're handling a machine such as a car, the dangers involved with that if you don't handle it responsibly. So I think it comes down to making sure that, don't feel like you're preaching too much to your kids out there, but make sure that they know everything. It's not just about, hey, make sure that you don't drink and don't drive, don't do any drugs tonight, but, make sure you make other good decisions as well.
Yeah, that's why we want people to look at the Facebook page, research it, Google it, find out as much information as you can.
Right. You can go to stopcarsurfing.com. You can also go to Facebook/stopcarsurfing.com. Or if you have a Facebook page, just search Stop Car Surfing and you'll get all the information you need.
Forget about Twitter.
Oh, there's the Twitter account too. Sally, why don't you tell us what the Twitter handle is?
Just do a search for Stop Car Surfing. It comes right up. I'm not really Twitter savvy. These girls are going to have to teach me that. Todd, after listening to Reva, it made me want to mention that I just want parents to know, if there's any parents out there listening and they find this confusing or they think it's not going to happen to their kids, I just want you to know that finding out the hard way on something like this is just not the way you want your kids to learn, or you or your family or anybody else to learn about this. You want to educate yourself ahead of time. There was a story last week, Todd, of a 15-year-old brother whose 15-year-old boy whose 13-year-old brother was riding on the hood of a car in Chicago. And the boy broke the car, and the 13-year-old slid off, landing on his head, which was a severe head injury. But then also the car ended up rolling over the boy. They didn't know if he was going to survive for a while. It looks like he's on the road to recovery. This story is also on our Facebook page and on the website, so read up on it. But my point with this is that the mother, I'd love to reach out to her, but I don't know how. But had she known something about this ahead of time and told her under driving age kids about it, maybe something could have been done. Maybe the kids would have thought twice before doing it. It's just my goal. I don't want to see another parent go through what I had to go through, because there's no worse way to lose your child than to have someone refer to them as a Darwin Award or anything else. I just want people to be aware. And it can affect kids of all ages.
Yes, it can. And like you said there, Sally, you want to talk to your kids. You want to educate them. There's something about, I hate to sound repetitive on this, but how would you approach and talk to your kids about this?
Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to ask them if they've ever heard of car surfing. You might want to bring up a story like the story I just told of the two brothers in Chicago.
Right.
You could say you saw it on the news and you'd never heard of this before. Is this something that they've seen or that they've engaged in themselves? I think most important is to not start the conversation in an accusative or aggressive way. You really want to make sure that they know that you're coming from love and that you want them to be safe. But most important, you need to let them know that this type of activity, car surfing, skitching, is not acceptable. It's dangerous, and driving is a privilege. It's a privilege, not a right. And when we start using automobiles for things of pleasure and recreation in such reckless ways, then nothing good is going to come of it.
Right.
And like Shannon had mentioned earlier, you want to talk about safe alternatives, keeping them busy. I never have to worry about these girls because they're just busy all the time. They have lots of activities going on, music, all kinds of things going on, and they just don't have time for it. And I think that's just really key.
You said also helping your child deal with peer pressure. Do a little bit of role playing, talk to them about it, see how they would handle that situation if it ever came up.
Sure. And peer pressure is just such a biggie on so many different things. We're talking drugs, we're talking texting and driving, we're talking about all kinds of reckless activity, not just car surfing. But to help your child deal with peer pressure, you might try acting out various situations in which one tries to convince the other to car surf or come up with at least 2 ways to handle each such situation. And just remember, to let your kids know that it's coming from love, that it's not coming from accusations or fear.
Right.
It's love.
But, it doesn't hurt to keep hammering it in, keep preaching, because once you get to that point where you hear of these stories, you don't want to be the person that's involved with that story. You don't want it to be your child.
Absolutely.
So, no, it's a great way to do it. We talked a little bit about positive and safe alternatives. What are some other suggestions you might have as a mom, Sally, that, like you said, your girls do music, there's sports, so many different alternatives.
Well, I come from a family of a broken home. I was raised by a single mom. My mother had to work, and then she had to date, and she had to do all these things. We did not have a lot of supervision in the evenings, and I think that that's what it comes down to. Parents have to work. Sometimes your kids have to be alone. We have to teach our kids that sometimes it is mandatory that they have to be alone or they have to be out without parental supervision, and they have to make good choices. The main thing about it is just that you want to be in their lives. You don't want them to have hours out and about, at that age, just trying to find things to do. I think as good parents, all of us want to see our kids thrive, and not giving them that direction that they need until they're an adult is just asking for trouble.
Right. And you kind of touched on a little bit too with some of the movies and the things that kids are seeing on YouTube. Just remember, kids, that's not you. That's somebody else making that bad choice on YouTube or on that movie. And sometimes in movies, those are stunt guys. They're wearing, like you said, the right equipment sometimes that people don't see. It doesn't mean that you need to emulate it. And it doesn't mean that you need to be cool and, hey, look what I can do. Because those choices that you make could affect not just yourself, but the family and the people that love you. Let's talk about what you got on the calendar here, because the 12th is Car Surfing Awareness Day. Talk a little bit about, spreading the word and what people can do.
Well, Todd, on our website, www.stopcarsurfing.com, we have provided some printables. Actually, you have to find them on our photos page, but you can actually print out our brochure that has lots of good information on there about how to talk to your kids. Also, there's pictures, there's examples, there's links to the CDC and other resources. I would start there. That's what I would do. But what we're asking people to do on Sunday, and actually I'd like to see it every day, but this Sunday on the 12th, is to just grab somebody. It doesn't matter if it's a stranger. Bring it up, educate them. If you're talking to your kids all the time, then you're not educating anybody else. So my favorite thing to do is to bring it up to somebody I don't know and walk away with that feeling that you just educated somebody on something that, they had no idea was such a huge problem.
And I think, from your guys' standpoint, because it comes so close to home, a lot of people out there who haven't been affected by it, those are the people that you want to reach out to so it doesn't affect them. You think about the people that are a little aloof about this idea. They don't think it's a big deal. Right. What do you say to those people?
Well, to those people, I always start with what I call the bomb, dropping the bomb, which is my story. And it always just kind of makes people sit up and listen. But also bringing up current events. And again, if you go to the website or the Facebook page, Stop Car Surfing, you're going to see stories. It's a constant. Every week we're putting new stories on there of new car surfing incidents. These are not old incidents. So that's a great way to bring it up. And for anybody that thinks it's not a problem, invite them to go and visit the website and search for themselves. Or, go to the CDC, do a Google search on it. If you bring up any YouTube videos, you're going to have half and half of successful car surfing stunts as well as people falling off and injured, if not death, So just educate yourself.